Hazmat Modine is an exciting, original, explosive blues folk world fusion jazz band from New York. Founded in the late 1990s, drawing on the rich soil of American music in the 1920s and 30s and 40s right up into the 50s and 60s. It's a blending early blues, hokum, jugband, swing, Klezmer, New Orleans R&B, Jamaican rocksteady, and just about everything else. The band includes tuba, guitar, percussion, claviola, Hawaiian steel guitar. Hazmat Modine's sound reflects the musical influences ranging from avant-garde jazz, rockabilly, western swing, Middle Eastern, African, and Hawaiian musical styles. And of course their name is a bit of a challenge as well. I had a chat to Wade Schuman about this, and he told me that hazmat is the American English for hazardous materials. That's what you see on the back of trucks. The word Modine is a brand name for an industrial forced air heater, the kind that you see in lofts and garages. He likes to think that it's a real good mix because, of course, they blow a lot of hot air. So I had a bit of a chat to Wade Schuman about the band and a few other things as well. He was sitting on a park bench, believe it or not, in New York City.
I started the band about 18 years ago with another harmonica player. We met in my loft in Midtown, New York. We had a group of professional harmonica players, which is an oxymoron, I know. But we met there, and I met him, and I said, well, I wanted to start a band that played all different kinds of music, not just blues, but, you know, that had influences from all over the world. And then we just started it, and over the years, we've slowly picked up more people. Some people have left, and the band has evolved very organically over a very long time. So some of the people, for instance, the tuba player has been in the band 18 years. So unlike a lot of bands, the band really, it's a real band. You know, most of the members have been in the band over 10 years. Wow. So the sound of the band has evolved through all the different personalities and styles and abilities of people in the band. And it has, you know, mixtures of American roots music and blues and R&B, Jamaican rocksteady, African influences. Of course, we've collaborated a lot with the throat singers of tuba. We've collaborated with the African band, Gangbei brass band from Benin. We even did a track with Kronos Quartet, which is a famous American classical quartet, string quartet. So we're like a centipede. We have a lot of different moving parts.
Love me one more time. Love me one more time. In the it's tossing and turning, and the river is long and wide.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you more about collaborations, which are quite interesting. Like the Gangbei one, for example. How did that come about?
Well, we were touring. We played a gig in Malaysia, in Genting Highlands, which is this giant, I can't even explain it. It's like a huge resort on top of a mountain outside of Kuala Lumpur. And they had a jazz festival, and we came, and Gangbei was one of the first bands that played. And I thought, my God, this is one of the greatest bands I've ever seen in my life, because they all sing, they dance, they play percussion, and they're fantastic horn players. And so I said, you know, I really want to do a song. So I actually wrote the song that we did with them. Do you know the writer Elizabeth Gilbert? She wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Yes. Yes, we know it.
A massive hit with that book.
Oh, wow.
So I knew her, and I was in Sulawesi in Indonesia, and we wrote the song. And then over a number of years, I managed to meet up with Gangbei and record the song. live and then work on the song, and then they did the final recording in Benin and sent it back here to the States. So it was a long process.
So that's one, and then you've also collaborated, I see here, with some throat singers from Tuva as well. Now that's got to be a different experience.
We've worked with two different bands. On the recent CD, we've worked with a band called Alash, and they're younger band from Tuva. But we collaborated a number of times with the Hunher 2, which is the most famous Tuvan throat singing band. But it works very well with American music because there's so much that the music has in common. I think the feelings of the songs are generally in pentatonic, so they have a lot in common with blues structures. The instruments they play, the dashpulor sounds a lot like a banjo. They have essentially fiddles, flutes. So it's a very natural collaboration. It never felt like a stretch for me at all.
I saw a BBC documentary of you guys playing. I couldn't believe how many harmonicas you have in one box. Is that would you say that's the core of the band, or is that just your core?
Well, I think that's my core. I mean, at the moment, in recent years, that chair has been held by, harmonica player and accordion player, and on this tour, we have an amazing violin player, Mav Swift, who's, native New Yorker. The essence of my, I grew up playing harmonica as a child, so really for me, that's where I come from. I think that's a very important sound in the band as well. So, yeah, I would say harmonica is a big part of it.
What's the difference between the chronomatic and the other kinds of harmonicas that you use? I mean, is it just the sound, or is there more to it than that?
Well, the diatonic is what people call, the blues harp. It's a small 10-hole instrument that, people associate with that kind of glissando that you get with blues. Chromatic is an instrument that was designed to play more chromatically like a regular instrument, and people associate that more with jazz, like Toots Thielman. You can play any music on either, really, but the sound is quite different. I mean, I play a lot of different kind of styles, both kind of more traditional harmonica styles and more contemporary styles. So I also use, for instance, an octave pedal that makes it sound like a, B3 organ, for instance, or a wah-wah pedal. Oh. And I also use harmonicas that are tuned to minor chords so that you can really get a beautiful kind of minor feel that's very distinct. Yeah, well, and I like that. I like the idea of harmonica on different styles of music as well, because I think most often we hear it in a very limited context that's, very frequently a kind of cliche, somebody's driving down the road and you hear the harmonica.
Yeah.
But, harmonicas is an instrument that can play all sorts of kinds of music. And they're all different kinds of styles of harmonica. It's a great album of pre-war music from Australia. I don't know if it has music from New Zealand as well, but it's called Music in the Vest Pocket, I think. I think it's out of print, but I got it years ago, and it was all recordings from the 30s of music from Australia, and it's a whole other style from the American style.
I guess every country's got an interpretation of their own.
Yeah, no, because it's a cheap instrument that people could take anywhere. So, you know, it's made in Germany, but of course in America, everybody played it, you know, and people who had no money could play it, and they could take it anywhere. And it's an instrument that's very adept at imitation. So, you know, you can imitate trains, and you can imitate animals, and I think the great thing about the harmonica is it's both melodic and rhythmic at the same time.
When we see you live, do you sort of play the videos as well? Was that part of your show, or is it just the music?
No, it was just the music. We're pretty much a show on our own. So, we're running around. It's a very high-energy band.
So that is what we could expect to see at Womad this year?
Yes, a lot of movement, feeling, sounds. Not an excessive dignity, let me say. I'm not concerned about that.